Today's video is brought to us by the generosity of Firearms Legal Protection. Firearms Legal Protection is a legal defense program for lawful gun owners. You win the fight, and they will help you win the fight after the fight for the rest of your life. There's a link in the description for a coupon code for a discount for all active self-protection watchers. Guys, I got a real treat for you. While we're here in Panama, I asked my friend Graham if he would spend some time and say hi to us. And if you follow the statistics, there's something like 6 million Americans who live outside the U.S. Most of those for retirement or for missions work, some for jobs and stuff like that. And Graham and his wife Nicole run an organization here called Advance Panama. So I want to introduce you to Advance Panama. I think it's a really cool organization, a really cool mission that they do here. And more important, for you guys, I think it's cool to talk about security and how you know, being a gun-owning American, but here in Panama, really hard, very expensive to do, and how you keep yourself and your family safe. So Graham, why don't you tell us about Advance Panama?
John, appreciate your time, man. I was living the American dream, suburbiate, where poverty was kind of an idea. Came down here and visited. My wife and I really honestly felt kind of called to come down and do more. We felt like we were like, yeah, Jesus, I'll follow you, but let me first bury my 30-year fixed mortgage. Yeah. But then we came down here and we realized, you know, no, there's more. And so we ended up, through relationships, starting a nonprofit, a 501c3 based out of the U.S. called Advance Panama, where we develop leaders here in the developing world. The cycle of poverty here isn't just a catchphrase like it was for me growing up. It's an actual hole where students with great grades, passion, integrity are still caught in the cycle because they don't have the money for the application for university. So we take students with, again, the high moral integrity, passion, and great grades, and we walk alongside them through all 4 years of university and help them. It's comprehensive. We do everything they need. So we helped one with an appendicitis last year, so that they can be the first ones in their family tree to get a college degree. That's what we do in short. Well,
and I think, I mean, coming from an American mindset, you're like, okay, college degree, whatever. You know, everybody I know got those, and they work at Starbucks. But in Panama, having a college degree is the difference between being the lower class and having access to the middle and upper class. It's a huge difference.
That's exactly right. And part of the comprehensive nature of what we do is, I mean, our students aren't safe. Some of them, one had to travel every day 3 hours one way, crossing rivers to go to the local high school. I just had a conversation with her today that her brother is the only breadwinner in the house. He's going to jail for 5 years. And so there's no security there. We give our students mace. We had a bike stolen from our house just a couple of days ago. I know they kind of seem little in theory, but when you get your pocket picked, it's kind of a personal offense where you realize you're kind of vulnerable, and that's one of the many things. We realize that some of our students aren't eating every day, and you know, when they're passing out in class. So it's not like we're not just throwing money at them. We're walking alongside them, teaching them English, teaching them leadership. And because when you advance the individual, you advance the community, and you advance the world,
and create a draft for their whole family, right? So that once somebody comes, they can start reaching down and helping the next ones, and you can create a cycle of ending poverty. That's amazing, man. So tell me about how your personal security has to exist here in this environment. I mean, you know, I talk a lot at home about empty-handed skills, about my firearm skills, and I carry a gun at home every day, but obviously you can't do that here.
Yeah. Fortunately, being a man of girth, I look for the...
A man of means.
Man of means, yeah.
We're of significant means.
I kind of look for the opportunity to get jumped, to get a workout in for the day, but my petite wife, I hand her the tactical mace that'll, you know, can hit a quarter at you know, 10 meters. And we literally have to pay attention to every dark alley. It's tricky. There's a lot of tricky stuff going on, and so, I mean, that's what we have to do. When, you know, I used to judge houses that had barbed wire, but it's a mandatory here. You need to be not the low-hanging fruit.
So I think there's this incredible crossover that says that everybody that I've talked to here, I mean, in some sense you're right. I mean, so you're a large gringo, right? So maybe on the one hand that says he's got a lot of money, but he's a big dude. Like, I'm not gonna fight that guy. Like, that guy could probably whoop me. But your wife, who's very little, well, wait, she's probably got money in her purse, and we better be much more careful. But so everybody says, look, you're responsible for yourself. The police force here is small, a long way away, and may not come at all.
And when they come, they give you an excuse as to why they can't help you. It's pretty bad. So I have to teach my wife and all of our female students and our male students to have that, like, what is it, amber, a readiness?
Yeah, always aware, right? So always knowing what's going on in your world. And then, you know, the other thing that I've heard from so many expats here in Panama is to know what the threat profile looks like, to not look like food so that you don't get eaten, and then to see what's coming from a long way away. So then that way you can de-escalate, escape, get the heck out of there, and not put yourself in bad spots. Does that sum it up?
That sums it up. We teach them to look like the most confident person in the room, because when you're confident, you can walk through a group of almost anybody, because they're looking for the low-hanging fruit, and you're showing that you know what you're doing and you know where you're going and not to be messed with.
I do have a question about that. So do you think, is it similar in Panama at all that to the U.S. where we talk about a confident step, your head held high and your gaze on the horizon is seen as confident here as
Absolutely.
well?
You think of the Latin flair, you think everyone's out to open and talk, but this is a very humble community. There's different parts of Latin America where they're very humble. They look at the ground, they don't look down, they don't look up, they don't want to lock eyes with you. And so when you walk in like you own the place, the bad guys kind of flutter away to the side because they're used to wimps, you know?
Well, so then you see that and you go from there. And I think obviously being a man of means is helpful in that endeavor, because you're less likely, you're like, man, that guy probably whipped my butt. So if somebody wanted to learn more about Advanced Panama, where are they going there?
Thanks, man. AdvancedPanama.com. Pretty simple. That's what we do. We're developing leaders in the developing world. We're not just paying for them to go to university. We're paying for their housing, food, health, their travel. That's where the cost comes in, that they're stuck and they won't be able to make it. And then we share life with them. We're teaching them leadership skills. We take anybody based on, we'll take anyone in no matter a race or faith background, but we do follow the leadership model of Jesus, who is a pretty good leader. He ended up, making the most popular, played a role in making the most popular book in the world, and his leadership model was pretty successful. And so that's what we're doing. We're walking alongside students and helping them along. Thank you for taking the time. John, I really appreciate your time to let us be a part of what you're doing, and you being a part of what we're doing. And if you want to consider coming alongside us, please shoot me an email.
Awesome. And listen, I think it's worthwhile. My last bit for you. Last night at church, I got to meet one of their students, Abdiel. And
well done.
He
good with names.
Names are important to people.
They are.
Man.
They are.
And Abdiel, his English was just good enough that we could communicate, and he is in software and in apps. And so imagine this young Panamanian who had good grades but had no ability to move forward, and Advanced Panama has helped him to learn how to write apps and learn how to do things, and he just created an app that earned him an award because it lets students, as they come in, a low-power Bluetooth app. Sorry, we're near a road and people are coming by. They're doing construction a little ways away, and so it's making everybody come by here. But they created a low-power Bluetooth app that when students come into a classroom, the teacher can set up a Bluetooth that lets students turn their homework in and check in that they are there that day without having to take up classroom time for it. And he actually won an award for it. And I'm like, dude, that's gonna be a marketable skill. That's really good for you. And so that's gonna change his life forever, his family's life forever. It'll let him reach back into his family and into his community to help others to do the same and walk the same path. And I think that no matter who you are, I think that's really valuable. So I think that's legit, man. I'd really recommend go check them out. And if you're looking for somewhere, they've had interns come and help them for some time. Yeah. They've had folks who join them in the ministry that they're doing here and in the work that they're doing. And I gotta tell you, man, living in El Valle is not, it's not a panacea, but it's not the worst place you could go if you wanted to get out of the country for a while.
There are suckier places to live, and there's people with a lot of need here, and that's why we bump into each other. Your kindred spirit, John. I appreciate your time, man. Thanks,
Great.
bro.
Love it, bro.
Sometimes I feel like I'm all alone, but you're my shalom. Yeah. How do I say thank you for everything you've done for me? Really, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done. Really, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done. Really, really, really thank you. Signed your son, and